Good evening. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time it may be. Hello, salutations, and welcome back to Heroes Premier League Season number 2. We have quite a lineup today here for today's broadcast. I am, of course, Shane Gucher is with me, my good friend, the boss, known as Haas. How are you doing, good sir?
I am good. I've just got here off the back of 3 hours of CSGO casting, doing some UK stuff, and now good old HPL NA Heroes League. Two of the best teams on your
Yes.
side of the pond going at it against each other in this best of
Yeah,
three.
so we've had a little bit of a change in the schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Temple Storm and Barrel Boys were supposed to face off last Wednesday, the last broadcast of Heroes Premier League, but due to some scheduling conflicts, they weren't able to do it live. So they did it at a better time. They gave us replays, so we will be casting from replays. A little unfortunate is that we won't be able to cast the draft per se. What we will be, because Haas and I talked about this before we went live, is we're going to get into the replay. We're queued up. Don't worry, we're queued up at the right time. We triple and quad trick that. We're going to talk about the draft a little bit before going into the match. Talk about the bands, what we think about the draft, and then kind of take it from there so that way you guys can kind of wrap your head a little bit around the draft in these matches. So, the first series today is a best-of-3 between Barrel Boys and Tempo Storm. The normal scheduled match that was supposed to happen, which was Synapsis versus Lunatic. Unfortunately, Synapsis did disband just 15, maybe like an hour or so ago, hour and a half ago, recently today. So Lunatic will be getting a bye, and in their place, we'll be casting the replays of these teams. So a little bit of a switch up of schedule, but I actually think that this is going to be a great broadcast nonetheless. So let's go ahead and get into the game. As we have pulled up here at 5 seconds, game time. Right,
Game
Haas?
time, replay time.
Game time. So the Bear Boys are on the left side of your map in blue. Looking at their draft, it looks like they have, one second, I got to play it a little bit here to get, there we go. Okay, so it looks like Barrel Boys are running a double healer composition with Malfurion and Uther, two very strong healers that really synergize well with each other and complement each other. Malfurion's a big AoE heal, Uther's a big burst healing single target, and their front line is Stitches with backliner of Sergeant Hammer on Zeratul. That is just a beastly lineup with a lot of sustain, a lot of damage, and a lot of displacement coming out of the Bear Boys right there, Haas.
Yeah, so we discussed pre-broadcast that we thought Illidan was banned, and I can't remember who we decided on our second, but looking
I
at
believe
this
it was
now,
Nazebo.
I disagree.
Okay.
Rhaegar.
Oh, yes, good call.
Because now looking at Tempo Storm, what do they have? They've got Tacita, Kerrigan. That's something that just jumped out at me. Tyrande, Diablo, and Vala. So they're running with essentially a double pseudo support setup in the Tyrande and the Tacita. But even so, just look at the healing that Barrel Boys have. The Malfury and Uther. That's a ton of healing for not only the Stitches, who we all know is probably going to go amplified healing, but of course for the Hammer at the backline. There's just so much peel there just to keep Hammer safe. And
now, one thing I want to talk about is Tempo Storm's lineup, because if that is a lineup of heroes we aren't used to seeing right there. They don't have a true healing support, like through a Rhaegar, Malfurion, or Uther. They have Tyrande, who does have a small amount of heals, but she's not known for her healing. She's known for her damage. So a very aggressive, just pick-off composition coming out from Tempo Storm right here.
Yeah, and I don't know how far, like, if we're synced up properly, but Tyrande essentially is the support in this one, but her level 1 talent she's gone for
is Ranger's Mark. That's correct.
So she's going for it. They're just going to try. I think, they've got a pick comp here. They've got Diablo, Tyrande, and Kerrigan. Their aim in this game, in their team fights, is to jump on Hammer, get 2-3 stuns down, place her in the team, and try and burst her down with the Hunter's Mark. That is the aim for Tempo Storm.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked a little bit about the draft. The game is here. I'm really looking forward to see kind of the two contrasting drafts that we see here, Haas, with Barrel Boys having a really heavy sustained lineup, while Temple Storm having just a, screw stain, foregoing big heals and, attrition in these team fights and just going, we're just going to outright kill you and pick you apart. So, without further ado, let's get this game underway here, Haas. Are you at just about the 5-second mark?
5 seconds in.
All right.
Yep.
We will hit play in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So let's introduce these fine gentlemen on both sides of the map. Over here, as mentioned before, left side is going to be Barrel Boys in blue, McIntyre playing Zeratul, Kianda on the Uther, Blinks on the Malfurion, Trummel on the lovely Sergeant Hammer, and Arrow on Stitches.
And for Tempo Storm, the team that are trying to conquer Europe after conquering NA, we've got Soldier, KO, Glaurung, and Arthelon lining up in the mid lane. Arthelon loves his unorthodox out of meta picks. We saw it on the Arthelon this time with the Kerrigan, and
Yes.
down bot lane, good old Dreadnought. And level 1 talent from the Kerrigan is pretty standard to start things off.
So I think what you and I are both expecting to see here is heavy early game aggression with the lineup that Tempo Storm has. It's obviously just completely fit around that sort of play style. And on the map, it's a very choice draft as well. As if you are able to just take both of these temples without much contention, it can really snowball out of hand. There's definitely a big snowball factor in Sky Temple. It's one of the reasons why the map first came out that some teams don't like playing on it. Teams have definitely warmed up to it since then. But we do occasionally see these heavy pick-off front-line aggression lineups like, I almost said Symbia Gaming, Tempo Storm is running today.
Yeah, we used to see the classic of Kerrigan and Arthas combined together because of their double CC together, and of course the ton of damage that they brought. And then we kind of saw that start to evolve a little bit, where we had Tyrande, Kerrigan, Muradin, where it was a trio of stuns that had rewinds. And then, of course, the rewind nerf came in, and Venom got nerfed a little bit, and we saw Kerrigan get phased out. Speaking of Kerrigan, engage in the top lane. Gonna miss the grasp and the stun from both Arthelon and Glaurung. And that's all she wrote for that top lane.
You can tell Tempo Storm is being so patient with that because the Glaurung on Tyron was sitting there for a long period of time, and they have that timing down. They were looking for that gank right before the temple's activated, but unfortunately Arthelon wasn't able to get that combination off. It looks like Arrow once again is going to be able to get away from danger. A good hook on to Glaurung. He's going to narrowly be able to get away. I have to say, for those of you that watched ESL Go for Heroes number 14 last night, Arrow's Barrel Boys is absolutely game-changingly... Arrow's Stitches is absolutely game-changingly good. He was landing hooks. He was threading that hook through the tip of a needle easier than a camel, man. It was absolutely insane.
Well, straight away we're going to see some aggression towards this mid-shrine. Tempo Storm doing what they do best and grabbing control of that. And neither team really rotating towards the top lane right now. They seem to want to fight over this, but the longer the Barrel Boys wait, the more shots Tempo Storm are going to get off, and the more control and the more poke they're going to get done as well.
So there's an initiation onto Arrow, the man with amplified damage and the Hunter's Mark, but even with all that sustain coming on the Stitches and the double heal, he's going to go down now. Nonetheless, Kianda in danger now, protective shield, but another great combination from Arthelon, the Primal Grasp securing the kill on the Arthelon. And right now, the momentum that Tempo Storm has with their draft is dealing adequately with the kind of sustain that Barrel Boys is bringing to the table. A level advantage, almost just right now, a 2-level advantage for a short period of time, already here at the almost 3-minute mark. And they're playing to their draft well, man. It's what we expect to see. The new age Arthas Kerrigan felt like, at least in the current meta, with both Arthas and Kerrigan receiving big nerfs, the new style we're seeing is the Diablo Tyrande, where Diablo goes in, Shadow Charge, Overpower, followed by Lunar Flare. Well, Tempo Storm has a Kerrigan on top of that. So that is just so much pick potential, man, and they've been utilizing it so well.
Their philosophy here as well is, we've got an insanely strong early game, where on a map where early game skirmishes happen, we saw it there. And we almost saw it up top lane, but Barrel Boys were a little bit smarter. So these early game skirmishes, you don't need a healer. You just need to get damage out, and that's exactly what they're doing. And they've got this 1.5 level lead, where we're seeing them hit this level 7 talent stage before Barrel Boys, and they're really taking this to Barrel Boys. They've exhausted 2 shrines already, done some good damage to top fort, done some good damage towards the mid buildings, and now they just need to fall back and take control of their merc camps, which is exactly what they're doing. They've grabbed their easy, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them rotate towards top soon to get some control up there as well.
Yeah, but they got to be careful, though, as the bottom shrine will be spawning here momentarily. And you can tell both these teams trying to apply some pressure into the bottom lane, both of them kind of mirroring each other's actions, getting their siege ogres. And it looks like Tempo Storm is going to be coming ahead as far as that goes. They were able to clean up the siege ogres of Barrel Boys and keep their own alive. They're definitely in prime position to get this bottom shrine as soon as it does spawn. Valo's going to be rotating from top lane down to the watchtower, get some more map vision in the top part of the lane, while definitely applying some pressure down in the bottom lane.
Yep, and here we go. We see the rotation towards the hard camp here, from both teams in fact. And What we've seen a little bit more often now from these top teams is they'll take the hard camp and then they'll wait. They'll leave one person just standing around here in the bush, waiting until you get the bottom shrine will activate in X amount of seconds. Then they'll take it, apply the pressure, and Tempo Storm are just going to ignore me.
We'll see what Barrel Boys are going to do. Though
like
Tempo Storm is definitely in position to potentially get some ganks and steal this hard camp. 3 on their front line. KO throwing down a zoning multi-shot. So they know that Barrel Boys was doing that, just knowing how the Barrel Boys works and how just the standard strategy on this map is to get this hard camp, as you mentioned. Good game sense coming out from Tempo Storm, denying that bruiser camp, and now they have level 10. Big power play coming out of Tempo Storm here. They can get the temple, they have level 10, and it should go uncontested.
Yeah, Vala could even in theory just stay up top and push that fort and get even more XP, but instead they're going to group as a 4-down bot, force Trummel away from this, and then rotate towards the shrine and cap it themselves. Vala soaking mid lane XP. So not only are they getting the shrine, but they're getting 2 lanes of XP, and now Vala's rotating up top to get even more XP and take away the hard camp that has been pushing.
So when we saw Barrel Boys last night, when I was casting with the Mr. Handsome forecourt Jester, what we saw was Barrel Boys losing the early game and then coming back in the late game. So this is a situation that Barrel Boys are not unfamiliar with whatsoever. It seems like they almost invite it to happen.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead, give us a challenge.
It's almost the same as Tempo Storm in their early days.
Yes.
Quite a few times. They fell behind. Same for El Nexo. When El Nexo were the team in EU. We actually see the strafe coming out from Vala just to force, get some minion weave clear up top. But the top team seem to not so much rely on their lane phase, but fall back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vala goes down in the top lane. I have a feeling there was a hook involved there. And then meanwhile, Uther goes down mid lane. These teams are just going back and forth right there. Unfortunately, I missed both of those ganks. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like these teams are going to be trading forts, though. They get 1 kill each. They're going to trade the mid and the top forts, respectively. What rotations are we going to see out of these teams? Are we going to see an aggressive rotation to try to further get some pickoffs? Looks like that's not going to be the case. Tempo Storm about to hit level 13.
I wouldn't be surprised if right now we would see Tempo Storm try and take away the Bruiser camp of Barrel Boys, but it seems they're just happy to take their own. Tacitus going to go back up top, clear that one, as we actually have both teams' top forts on roughly the same hit points, so they need to get some pressure and some counter pressure up there. The third rotation of shrines is one that's a little bit random in some sense. I believe it's either bot and mid or bot and top, I think. So we'll have to see which one it's going to go for. The hook missing in mid lane.
Strafe being used, there's the Hunter's Mark, and there is the dunk. Arrow initially looked like he was going to get away, but now it looks like with the Future Belt he will be able to get away. That's sustained, showing its power. There is the Breathe Fire, a good Void Prison, zoning out 3 of Tempo Storm, which made the initiation from them just completely forfeit, though they still are able to get the kill on the Uther. So a 1 for nil exchange going their way. They had a level 13 advantage. A phenomenal Void Prison. It looked like that Barrel Boys were going to be able to turn that around, but just weren't able to do so.
Yeah, one of the main reasons you kind of tend to pick Zeratul is to zone someone away from their team. And it would usually be a support kind of person, so usually a Malfurion or Rhaegar to try and stop that healing getting down. But right now, who are you really stopping? Or who are you isolating? I feel like it's more going to have to be a defensive style of Void Prism, where Diablo, Kerrigan, someone like that charges forward, and then you just VP the back line. Speaking of back lines, Arthalon gets hooked in.
A great initiation on to the Malfurion. He had to use the Ice Block, which he quickly picked up the moment he got level 13. It looks like that just delayed the inevitable. They were able to get the kill anyways. For some reason, my camera keeps tweaking out like that. Not sure why. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll figure that out. They nonetheless able to get the kill. The temples are spawning 5v4. So it looks like, though, Barrel Boys are going to be rotating here down the south, trying to get something going their way, as right now they have been on the back foot since the gates have dropped.
We certainly have, and this has really been the strength of Tempo Storm's team comp. They were all about their early game, where we can see with the talent choices. On Barrel Boys, they're more for the late game. Arthalon almost grabbing McIntyre there.
Almost.
McIntyre knew he had it covered, didn't even need to blink there. Just sidestepping the primal grasp.
So looking at the current situation, the state of the game is a Starfall on top of Blinks with the Breathe Fire and the damage amplification. He is going to go down. Uther came in to try to save his healing buddy, but wasn't able to do so. A reinitiation sweeping from the north down to south is Arthalon. Getting a Primal Grasp onto Kiana. There is a Void Prison, but I believe that is just going to be a suicide right there for Uther, as he's just going to try to save the rest of his teammates, knowing he was dead to rights. And that Void Prison was, again, that was a defensive Void Prison, like you mentioned there, Haas, but a little bit too defensive, as all it did was pretty much interrupt the team fight from getting completely stomped and just trying to mitigate the damage being done.
And when you're 2 levels and a talent behind, there's not much else you can use it for, as now Tempo Storm, they've got the momentum. They're going to grab this boss. They don't care for the shrine right now. They're just happy to create this bot lane pressure and then go back to the shrine. They know they have this one in the bag at the moment. It is essentially their game to throw. The easy camp of Barrel Boys has just spawned. Surprised we didn't see them go for an aggressive maneuver there. They can see Stitch's top. They're not too sure where the other 3 are, because of course Uther has just spawned. They're just going to exhaust this bottom temple of its bullets as that fires away to the bot lane, and of course that will help the boss out in its push.
Yeah, this bot lane is pretty much the premier lane for teams to kind of line up their win condition once they start getting in the stages of the late game. Here at the about the 11-minute mark, though, we're looking at level 14 to level 17. Only 1 kill from Barrel Boys, and right now it's just Temple Storm feels like that their heavy aggression lineup is countering the defensive playstyle, kind of attrition playstyle that Barrel Boys is bringing to the table. They simply, even with an Uther, even with a Malfurion, you have a protective shield, you have a cleanse, you have tranquility, so many defensive capabilities that they have, it cannot stand up to the wall of damage that is Temple Storm. And I'm not sure what difference they can make right now. They need to get level 16. They need to get even on the talents. And the timing they're going to have is when they both have level 16 talents, equal in talents, before Temple Storm hits level 20. They need to make something happen before Temple Storm hits level 20 in that window.
But even now, that one probably feels quite an age away to the team of Barrel Boys right now. They have to get as much XP as they can without risking too much, and we see them just almost feeling trapped inside their base right now. They have to wait so patiently for these minions to push towards them. We see the hard cap only just getting there in the top lane. Mid lane is going to get there soon enough, but as that happens, Tempo Storm, they're rotating towards bottom. They're just going to tank up this keep and try and grab this one.
So good game sense right there, recognizing that Barrel Boys had to respond to the hard camp up top. Sweeping down to the bottom lane, try to clean up this keep. Got some damage onto it, weren't able to take it down. Though with the temple, with the map being Sky Temple, that bottom keep is absolutely susceptible to just going down to the temple damage later on in the match. But the next phase is here. It's going to be the mid and the north temple. Level 18 and level 16. So this is the window of opportunity that I was talking about here, Haas. They have level 16. They are down 2 levels, so they're still at a pretty big disadvantage as far as damage, health, and mana pool goes. But nonetheless, they have those same talent tiers. This is what they need to do. They need to do something. They need to do it right here. Because if Temple Storm wins once again, they're going to have level 20. They're going to get themselves 2 temples, a keep, and possibly the game.
Yeah, this is that opportunity, either now or within the next few minutes. They need to try and force something and get the hook onto Arthalon.
That was a great play right there. Dreadnought dimensional shifting in there really aggressively. Good lord. Aggressive is the name of the game for Temple Storm, but it might be biting them right there as Dreadnought went in with an aggressive dimensional shift. Now he's going to get a great hook from Arrow. Like I said, man, Arrow's Stitches is so good. He always lands these hooks, and the follow-up from them is always on point, and that is the breaking point for Barrel Boys, as now they're going to get themselves 2 temples. They're going to push in these lanes. Though even with 4 going down for Temple Storm, with almost all of the structures being alive for them, no real big damage is going to get done here. They have to go through the Tier 1 towers, they have to go through the Tier 1 forts, Tier 2 towers, just to get to a keep. So Temple Storm still is going to, definitely has what it takes to remain in this game, and actually even with that, I feel still are in an advantageous position.
Yeah, even after falling here, Tempo Storm, they still at least have the momentum on their side. There's a pretty big minion wave down the bot lane for them right now. Only problem is they just lost 2 shrines, and straight away Barrel Boys are going to come back into even XP. There are pings towards bottom lane for the boys in blue. They're going to take away the easy camp, or at least think about it. Soldier and Arthalon are just enough to force Barrel Boys away from that one. Malfurion still grabbing up top, almost dying for it, but even so, he gets those last 5 shots off.
So now the mid keep is exposed in that timing that Barrel Boys had. They did a lot of work. Every single fort now down, every single tier 1 tower, the tier 2 towers in the mid lane. Up in top lane, one of the 2 tier 2 towers is down. Bottom lane is still nice and healthy, but that is just a substantial amount of follow-up they had after getting that team wipe. So, I mean, commendations to them. If that goes like that again, now that they're even on experience, that will actually, more than likely, be able to end the game right there. So it's going to be interesting. Now, both these teams are kind of in this, moment of passivity as they want to hit level 20, but if the next temple phase starts, they don't have much of a choice. So these teams need to soak experience, need to hit level 20 as soon as they possibly can.
And it's about who gets there first, and do they have an opportunity to push their level 20 and push the advantage that it gives them. Right now, the way the teams are set up, the answer would be looking likely to be a no, because of just how close they are right now. It's going to come down to the next temple. Arthalon thought about going for his hard camp there, but McIntyre is close. He's sneaky beaky like. Gets exposed by the Oracle of Tassadar, and he has to back away from that one.
So the Void Prison once again being used. Diablo was completely by himself, but again, the Breathe Fire just makes him unCCable, do a significant amount of damage. 1 for 2 right now. The frontliner of Temple Storm is down. Blink's using the Ice Block, but it looks like he's going to go down nonetheless, just delaying the inevitable. So a 3-for-1 exchange. Now the only one lone temple is up down in the bottom lane. Surely that will kill the keep and start wailing away at these other keeps here. And level 20 is here for Temple Storm. Rewind on the Tyrande is a huge power boost. You can get that double Lunar Flare off, and whoever gets hit by that first Lunar Flare is going to get hit by a second one, and that's just going to secure a kill almost 100% of the time.
Especially when you look at Tyrande's level 13 and 16 talents. Increase the range by 50% and impact area by 33%. And of course the 16 talent is the big one here, Shooting Star. Lunar Flare deals 50% more damage and refunds all mana if you hit an enemy hero. So rewind, Lunar Flare, you're not exhausting any mana there. You're just doing a ton of damage onto someone.
Yep. Temple Storm, knowing that they have a big numbers advantage, taking the boss camp right here. Now, I have coined this boss right here the mayor of... it's been known as Throw City. Other castles have called it Throw City, but I call the boss himself mayor of Throw City, because so many times teams try to take that boss with kind of a calculated risk, where there's a good percentage that we'll be able to get this boss without getting punished, but in that percentage of time they do get punished, it's just game-changing.
What you're saying
Temple
is
Storm,
someone calls a 5v4. Let's boss.
Yes. Top lane, the keep is going to get pushed in here, while at the bottom lane, boss is going to be hitting the core. Barrel Boys has to split themselves apart in the most efficient manner possible in order to defend both their core and the keep, and it looks like they're doing a pretty damn good job so far.
They are indeed. They do force a few heroics out, mainly the Putrid Bile. Now the Maelstrom is up for Kerrigan. It's going to help her quite a bit in her damage and of course her shield. This boss hasn't got past the shield, luckily enough for the Barrel Boys, as Tempo Storm going to fall back and take all the Merc camps away. Dreadnought and KO going to take away the easy camp. Going to be joined by Tyrande soon. They need some kind of defense system here. It seems Barrel Boys don't want to contest. They're happy to let this one go. And this again is going to create so much map pressure. The hook just missing Dreadnought. And now they're going to fall back to their own siege camp.
So level 20 being here for Barrel Boys is a huge power spike. With Rewind on Zeratul, that's going to enable him to have quad blinks, quad singularity spikes. It's going to enable Stitches to be much more defensive with that hardened shield, and that's really, really important with the lineup that they're facing against, which is all about just initiation and blowing people up. That hardened shield is going to help significantly, as well as the Storm Shield coming out from Malfurion. So now that we're in this late game situation, and every single one of these heroes has every talent that they want available to them, who are you favoring right now, Haas?
Oh, I'm still favouring the side of Tempo Storm, I think. We actually haven't seen Barrel Boys been able to get off a good amount of healing in a fight. It's been
Yeah.
mainly all just blow someone up. As soon as Malfurion comes out of Ice Block, he's dead. Speaking of dead, Soldier's dancing with death, as is Glaurung.
Soldier's got to be careful here. Arrow is going in there. He has to be careful as well, though, as 2 Lunar Flares is going to just be able to blow him up, stun lock him before he's even able to use the Hardened Shield. There's the Starfall kind of into the backline, followed with a Tranquility, a good Divine Hurricane onto 3, and this is a turnaround from Tempo Storm. A Void Prison onto 2. Soldier finally gets taken out. That is the moment the Barrel Boys needed right there with the level 20 advantage. Looks like they finally are going to be able to get something going in their favor. Though, with Diablo going down, he is going to be right back up with his combat trait. So they did get a kill, but unfortunately it was on the one target that has Resurgence of the Storm.
Glaurung may fall here. Getting chased down by the Zeratul, has to fall back from that one. Dreadnought is looking to go somewhere safe, but look at this. No keeps left now for Barrel Boys, as Dreadnought is going to go and put some pressure on here. He's going to get joined by Kayonda and McIntyre. There are going to be minions on this core. He does, of course, have his Dimensional Shift to get out of there pretty safely. As Sergeant Hammer falls down in the top lane, you've got to think now that this is going to be the game. They have control of this top shrine. It's wailing on the core, and Dreadnought is just being a complete distraction right now.
That's all he's doing, making sure that they're able to get the temples. Down goes the core, exposing all of the gold. So congratulations to Temple Storm, taking game number 1 against these colossal teams. Haas, where is your beautiful face? There it is. So this is a best of 3, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't like the ESL Go for Heroes. So Barrel Boys still has one more game to even it up and take a victory over Tempo Storm. And there's a lot of storyline behind both of these teams. Barrel Boys has been on an absolute tear. They've been undefeated, only dropping 1 map, while Tempo Storm, known as the best North American team, has actually been losing recently. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I am Shane Guccier. With me is the boss, known as Haas. Sit right there, kick your feet up, grab a drink of water, hit the follow button, hit the sub button, and see you in just a moment.